Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be solving problem which was provided on April 3rd. Okay. You are given a zero index integer array nums. Return the maximum value over all triplet of indices such that I is less than j is less than k. If all such triplets have negative value, then return 0. The value of a triplet is basically this. Okay. So people who are directly coming to this particular problem, they might not know that this was an extension to the problem which was provided on April 2nd. Okay, the problem statement is exactly same. Okay, the only change between the problem on April 2nd and the problem on April 3rd is basically the constraints. Okay, here the length, the nums array can go all the way up to 10 power 5. Okay, yesterday they have given a pretty small value for the length of the array. Okay, so you cannot solve this particular problem using brute force solution. The brute force solution is to have 3 nested loops and compute this particular value, but brute force would be order of n cube, and order of n cube for this particular input will not be a good solution. It will give you time limit exceeded exceptions. Okay, so we have to come up with some better algorithm, right? Yeah, so if you look at this particular equation, okay, here we have been given nums of I, nums of j and nums of k. This particular value depends upon 3 variables, right? So let's try to fix one particular variable. Let's say for a given j, how can I maximize this particular value? If I have to maximize this particular value for a given j, that means I have to take the nums of I to be a larger value among all possible values, and nums of k should also be the maximum value, right, among all possible values of k, right? So let me take an example. Let's say j is equal to 1. So nums of I should be chosen the maximum value among these two values. Okay, because I should be strictly less than j. Since j is 1, I's possible values would be these two. So I have to take the maximum value, which is 12, and k should be the maximum value among these two values, which is 7. Okay, so if you do 0, 2 and the 4th index, which will be 17. Okay, 12 minus 1, which is 11, 11 times 7, which is 77, right? So the idea is to fix for a given j, how can you get the maximum value for I and maximum value for k, right? For a given index of I, how can you get maximum value of I and maximum value of j? So let's try to use some extra space and try to identify what would be the maximum value for an array from 0 to ith index or jth index. Okay, so we will be maintaining 2 arrays saying prefix maximum and suffix maximum. Okay, where prefix maximum will basically tell me the maximum so far I have seen. Okay, so far I have only seen 12 as a maximum. So far, if I'm at this particular position, what is the maximum so far I have seen? Okay, so among 12 and 6, what is the maximum? If I am at 1, what is the so far maximum I have seen? If I am at 2, what is the so far maximum I have seen? If I am at 7, what is so far maximum I have seen? So the prefix maximum would be something like this, and suffix maximum would be the vice versa. Okay, the suffix maximum would be what is the maximum so far I have seen from the right side. Okay, what is the maximum I have seen so far from the right side till this particular index? What is the maximum I have seen so far from the right till this particular index? Okay, so once we have the prefix maximum and the suffix maximums for a particular index, all I have to do is to traverse at each index and compute this particular value, right? Okay, let's try to solve this problem. Okay, yep. So as I have mentioned, I need prefix maximums and I need suffix maximums, right? So let me define the length of the array is this, okay, and I need prefix max, which is basically new long of length, and I will also have a suffix max which will be of same length, right? Okay, so I have to start from index I, and I have to populate my prefix maximum. Okay, what is the maximum I've seen so far till that particular index? Okay, what is the maximum I've seen so far this particular index? What is the maximum I've seen so far till this particular index, right? So that is what we're gonna populate it. Okay, I less than length and I plus plus. Okay, if I'm at the first index, that means that is straight away the maximum I've seen so far, right? So prefix max of I, if I is equal to 0, that means straight away I can say that that is a maximum so far I've seen. Okay, so if I'm at this particular index, okay, I know till this particular index I've already computed my maximum so far. So if I'm trying to compute maximum at this particular index, I can say the current, I have to compare my current number and so far maximum till one index behind. Okay, so that is what I have to do. Okay, maximum of the current index at any point of time, either the current index could be the maximum, or I have to compare with the so far maximums I have seen, right, which will be at prefix max of I minus 1, correct? So any one of this would be the maximum, and this way I will be able to fill my prefix max. Okay, so nextly I have to fill my suffix maximum. Suffix maximum is basically, let's say I'm at this particular index, what is the maximum so far from this index, what is the maximum from this index till the end? Okay, what is the maximum, right? So I have to start from my end of the array, right? So I will start from my end of the array and I will go all the way till the 0th index, and I will decrement my pointer and I will say the suffix maximum of I. So if I'm at the last index, so the suffix maximum would be the same value, right? The so far what is the maximum from my right? Since I have only one element, that would be the maximum. So if I is equal to length minus 1, that means the nums of I would be the maximum. If that is not the case, then I have to compare what the current number with so far maximum I have computed. The so far maximum I have computed would be in suffix max of I plus 1, right? And what is the current number, right? So this will tell me the suffix maximums. Now that I know the prefix maximus and the suffix maximum for a particular index, I have to check what would be the value for each and every possible index of j. Okay, if j is over here, what would be this particular value? If j is over, what would this computer value? So I have to start from I is equal to 0. So I have to start, as I mentioned, I should be strictly greater than j. If I is over here, that means j should start from 1. Okay, so j will start from 1 and it will go all the way till the last but one element, which is length minus 1. Okay, so now that I have to compute the maximum value, so let's define a variable called long max value. It is equal to 0. So the max value would be maximum of current max value, comma prefix. I have to compute these values, right? So for given I, what would be the maximum I have seen so far? Before that, if j is here, what would be the maximum I have seen so far, right? So maximum I have seen so far would be in the prefix of j minus 1, right? So prefix maximum of j minus 1 minus the current number, okay, times the suffix maximum. Okay, what would be the maximum for the next elements, okay, which would be suffix maximum of j plus 1. Okay, if I am at j, right? I have to take the prefix maximum for the previous array and I have to get the suffix maximum for the j plus 1. So that is what this is. Okay. Now that okay, I think everything is perfect. Let's try to return the max value. Let's try to submit this. Yeah, it has satisfied all the default test cases. Let's also try to submit this problem. It has also satisfied all the test cases. Okay. Here you see the overall time complexity for this particular problem is we have only used 3 for loops, okay, which will run in order of n. So the overall time complexity would be order of n. The space complexity would be also order of n because we are using an extra array of size equal to the length of the array. We are using 2 extra arrays, okay. But if in terms of big O notation, the overall time complexity would be order of n, right? Yeah, that's all about this problem. Yeah, do subscribe to my channel for more such coding videos. Thank you.